Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jadea Lachey. This is just basically a testimony of my life that I felt like I should share because I know that there's somebody somewhere out in the world that needs positive insight or a motivational uplift or upbringing. So I'm here to just hopefully do that for you all. Sorry if you hear like the ticking noise in the background because I have two lights in my bathroom. One is brighter and I'm actually using the brighter light. Sorry if the lighting is off, you guys. This is my first video and I'm just gonna get right into it. And if I'm looking down a lot, it's because I have notes. You can't really see it. Sorry, you can't see that at all. It's because I have notes that I'm gonna go off of just because I don't want to forget anything or leave any drastic information out. So I'm just gonna get right into the video. So basically, I'm gonna introduce myself to you all. My name is Jadea Driscoll. Like I said, yes, I'm giving you guys last name. My name is Jadea. I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. So as you all know, or if you don't know, Cleveland is a major city in the Midwest. There's a lot of poverty there, and a lot of people from my walk of life is supposed to not make it in this world, or is supposed to be in a certain type of light for people. So that's just where I'm from. But I love Cleveland, Ohio. It made me who I am. I wouldn't change it for the world. It made me a better woman. It made me a stronger woman. It made me just be able to go get it. Not sit around and wait for anything to come to me, because nothing's going to come to you. You have to go out there and you have to go get it. You have to want it for yourself, because if you want it for yourself, oh, trust me, it will happen. But I'm going to get to that. I live in Elmira, New York now. I moved down to Elmira, New York in August of 2019. My dad's side of the family does live in Elmira. Unfortunately, my father passed away April 18, 2019, and I took that very hard. And I just want to tell you guys right now, if I start getting emotional about my story, I'm sorry. You just have to bear with me on that. But like I said, my father passed away in April of 2019, and I'm still recovering from that, because as anybody, like, that's your parent. You never expect to lose a parent at 44 years old. I'm not 44, I'm 24. He was 44 when he passed. And so abruptly, but I'm a firm believer in the Most High. I have faith in the Lord. I will talk about that a lot on my channel. So if you don't like stuff like that, or if you're not a religious person, this probably isn't the channel for you. My father passed away in April, like I said, and he just was the love of my life. You know what I mean? He made me, I look like my father. He made me strong. He instilled a lot of good morals and a lot of strength in me. But like I said, it was his time to leave and go on to be with the Lord. That's my hope, that he is up in heaven with the Lord. And I'm coping with it day by day, but you never really get over loss of a loved one. All you can do is kind of pray and be strong about it. But yeah, and basically why I moved from Cleveland was, like, my mother, my stepfather, my sister, my brother, my niece, and my nephew were the only family that I've ever really known and ever really had in my life. Like I said, I had my father, but I would have to come to New Jersey to come visit him, to come see him. My mother made sure growing up that me and my father and my sister, we all had a strong connection and a strong bond. She made sure that bond between us was never broken. Even though we did move away and live in another state from him, he would make sure we came down for the summer to see him, as well as my mother. So I give her the utmost respect for that. She is a very strong and beautiful woman. I look up to my mother and I love her dearly. she is still here on earth living, and I'm happy for that. I pray for her every night that she can continue to be a successful, strong woman for me to look up to. And she took care of me and my siblings the best way she could, and I really appreciate that. But anyway, so I moved to Elmira, New York, which is where my dad's side of the family lives, because things started to get a little bit rough in Cleveland. Back in June, I met my baby father. Yes, guys, I am currently 8 months pregnant with a baby boy. So, and I'm very happy about that. Even though things aren't really working out, or probably will never work out between me and my baby father, it took me a lot to get to that point where I could just feel comfortable with letting him go and have assurance in myself that even though that me and him had a child together and we're not going to be with each other, I still am going to be strong and be the best mother I can possibly be to my son. So my father passed away in April. I found out that I was pregnant in June with a boy. So in my eyes, that was my father. That was a sign for my father that he's still with me. Hopefully my baby's due in March, on March 27th, 2020. So hopefully my baby boy will look like my father. That's my hopes, because I look a lot like my father. Hopefully he will look like my father, because I feel like that was my blessing from my father as well as the Lord, to have a baby boy so close to the time where my father had passed away. But I moved from Cleveland back in August because like things weren't working out really anymore at home. Like I've always lived with my mother. Me and my mother and my stepfather, we started to clash in my eyes. It's just basically in Cleveland, I feel like I was going nowhere fast. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I was done growing, and I wasn't okay with that. I wasn't accepting of the fact that that was my life and that was all that I was going to be. I was living at home with my mother, working odd jobs. I was very lonely and in a very depressed state. I felt like I said, that there was no room for me to no longer grow or elevate. Excuse me, guys. I have a bit of a cold, so excuse me. I feel like there was no more room for growth, and I felt like I was kind of the black sheep in my family, that everybody was kind of like stuck in their ways and accepting of the barriers that we all face in life. And I wasn't accepting of that. I always had the feeling in the back of my mind that I was going to be more, and that I knew I could be more, and that God put me on this earth to be more. God put me on this earth to be somebody to motivate people in a positive way, to be someone that people can look up to, and to know like if she can make it, I can make it too. So I chose the decision, the decision really chose me, but it's like I kind of fell out with everyone in my family. My mother kicked me out of my home, her home, where I lived at with her. Me and my sister fell out. Me and my stepdad fell out. It's just everybody I feel like I ever known and loved, they turned their back on me. And I was kind of lost in the world, you know what I mean? And then that's when I met my baby father in June. At the time, he was not my baby father. He was just my boyfriend. Me and him were dating. And I met him, and in my eyes, he was everything to me. Because after my father died, I feel like nobody understood. Nobody cared. I wanted somebody to feel the pain that I felt. I wanted somebody to understand how I felt. And I felt like nobody could understand me. Everybody just wanted me to get over the fact that my father is gone. And I just couldn't wrap my head around that. So I started to rebel. I actually quit my job that I was working at for like a year and a half. I actually just quit. And I was just really going off the deep end. I can really honestly say that I was going off the deep end. So I'll fast forward. I met my baby father. And for a while, me and him were great. Like, he helped me cope with the loss of my father. I would always cry, always be sad, and I love him for that. He helped me cope with the fact that my father was gone. He understood why I was sad all the time or depressed. He understood. And when my family turned their back on me, I had my baby father. He helped me because when my mother kicked me out, I was homeless. I had nowhere to go because I've only ever lived with my mother. Yes, I had money saved up, but I never had my own apartment before. I didn't know how to go about obtaining my own apartment. So he just helped me. He gave me a place to stay. He helped me mentally. He helped me physically. And it's just, he was the love of my life. And I felt like me and him were going to be together forever. But me and him, in the end of the day, it was a lot of heartache with him as well. Me and him ended up not falling out. He hurt me in the most way that anybody could ever hurt someone, in my opinion. And I'm not going to really elaborate on what he did to me because it's just like, there's no point. It's to the point where it's just, I was done. You know what I mean? Once you cross a certain boundary and a certain line with somebody, you're just, and every time you look at that person and you can't forgive them for what they did to you, it's just time to be done. In my eyes, like, yes, you apologize, we got back together, but in my eyes, I can never get past the hurt that he did to me. So in my opinion, it was just time for me to be done with the situation altogether, because it's better for you to be done than to just, every time you guys get an argument, you bring up that same thing that they did to you. Every time you look at this person, you think about the pain that they caused you. There's no love in that, and there's no getting over that, so you might as well just chalk it up to being done. That's my opinion. Everybody's different, though. I'm not going to tell you what you should do in your relationship status or marital status or any of that. That's just what I chose to do. So after me and my baby father didn't work out and me and my family still weren't on good terms, I decided to move. August 10th, 2019, I decided to move to Elmira, New York, where my dad's side of the family resides at. So I did just that. I had money saved up from this job that I was working at, and I decided to get on the Greyhound bus, book me a ticket. I reached out to my aunt and I told her basically everything that was going on and why I felt like I should come back home, because in reality, Elmira, New York is my home away from home, because I spent the majority of my life here too. Even though it was for the summer, I still came down and seen my family as a child. So I felt like this was my life as well. So I reached out to my aunt. She said that yes, if I do come down here, she would pick me up from the Greyhound bus station, give me a place to live, and help me get on my feet, just so I can get away from all the pain and the negativity that I was going through at that time. So I did just that. August 10th, I booked me a bus ticket. I got on the bus and I headed to New York. I had a car. I had a 2007 Nissan Sentra. I left my car because I felt like my car wouldn't make it down here. 4.5 hours away from Cleveland to New York. Left my car. I packed up my clothes, packed up anything that I could carry, and I just hopped on the bus and I left. I'm like, what's the sense of being homeless? And it's just, in Cleveland, I was done with that life at that time. I felt like I didn't have anybody. And then on top of that, I found out that I was pregnant when I was 6 weeks pregnant. I found out that I was pregnant, and I'm just like, oh, this can't be life. You know what I mean? So I moved down here. I got down here. My aunt and my uncle, they picked me up from the Greyhound bus station, and I lived with them, and everything was good, in my opinion. So I lived with them, and I found me a job working at the local McDonald's in September. September 4th, I believe I started working at McDonald's. Just so I can have like a job. I'm a firm believer. I've always had a job. I had a job since I was 14 years old. I'm like, okay, my auntie moved me down here, but it's my job to stay down here. I'm going to grind until I get me an apartment, a new car, and basically I moved for my baby. I moved for my son. Because in Cleveland, I just didn't want to be around that vibe anymore. I didn't want to be around my family. I didn't want to be around the heartache and the pain anymore. So I moved for my son. I'm like, no good mother is going to be homeless, living in their car with a child. Didn't want my mother to have to raise my child for me. I didn't want my mother to have to take on another. I just felt like I was in an inconvenience for her. I've always felt that way. I just felt like I was a very much so inconvenience for her. So I decided to move. Everything was going good until my baby father showed up in New York. So this is what I was saying, like how, like after he hurt me and I decided to forgive him, this is what I was saying, like, this is to the point where once he came to New York, I felt like, okay, we just need to be done. Because he came to New York. I always remember it like it was yesterday. We were talking and he was texting me and apologizing to me and saying that why he hurt me and justified the fact in his eyes of why he hurt me. And he basically said that he wanted to move from Cleveland, Ohio to New York to be in his child's life with me. He wanted to move down here and start a life with me and his child. And he wanted to just get away from all that and all the drama and stuff that he caused, and me, but that he caused as well. He wanted to get away from all that, so he wanted to move down here and start a life with me and my child. He wanted to come down here like I did. So he came down here, and my aunt, she didn't really like him because of all the things that I've told her about what he did to me. So in her eyes, she already ruled him off. Like, I don't care what this man says, I don't like this man and I probably never will. So when he showed up in New York and and I'm not gonna say his name on here because I don't know who's watching. I don't know who may know him. I just don't want to. Maybe in the future I will on my channel, but I just, at this moment in time, I feel like I'm just not going to say his name on here. I just don't want to. But when she seen him and everything, she kind of ruled him out. She didn't like him. She didn't want to hear anything that he had to say. She just looked at him. Hold on, guys. Sorry, that was my light. So she just didn't really like the type of person he was, and I wouldn't blame her because, like, I told her all these things about what he did to me, and as my family member, you're not supposed to like somebody that has hurt me like that. So when she seen him, it kind of clashed with me and her, in my opinion. Like, after she met him, it's basically she ruled me out. She was like, since your baby father's down here, she felt like I didn't need her anymore, so she kicked me out. She felt like we were grimy, undermined people. She felt like I stole from her, and I was basically chasing a man that doesn't love me and that will never love me. But as a woman and as somebody that you conceived a child with, you don't see the things that everybody else wants you to see right away. That's your opinion. And if somebody really loves you and they are family to you, they should not treat you that way. They should just tell you how they feel, but they shouldn't just rule you out because of the mistakes that you've made or the mistakes that you're making. If they really love you and they view you as a family member, they should, in my opinion, I just felt like my aunt went about it all wrong. she could have, as my aunt, I feel like she could have been more sympathetic and more caring of my feelings and more understanding about why I decided to let this man back in my life. Me and him are going to have a child together. So at that moment in time, I was willing to hear him out and willing to forgive him for the wrong that he caused in my life. I was just willing to forgive. So when she kicked us out, I have multiple family members in Elmira, New York. So I went to go stay with another great aunt and uncle. I didn't really tell them about how my baby father was because I'm just like, oh, I got this reaction from this family member. Maybe I should probably not mention that and bring it up. I should just let them, if I'm choosing to forgive this man, I shouldn't portray him in a negative light. I should want my family to like him if he's going to be in my life. If we're getting past this, I need to not bring up the situation that happened in Ohio. We moved away to start a new life. That's easier said than done. Easier said than done. So we stayed there for a while. And we lived with my great aunt and my great uncle for a while. My baby father got a job with my cousin, and he was fixing houses in the next town over, Corning, New York. He was fixing houses and like doing things to help me and his child. But every day I would look at him and I just could not get past the fact of the betrayal. It just was cutting me to the core so much that I would just always bring that up and we would always fight about it. I just was always sad. When I seen him, I would cry. Or when we talked about it, I would cry. I'm just like, why would you do that to me? Like, out of everything that we've been through, I feel like you handled the situation kind of childish. And like I said before, I'm not going to really elaborate on what he did to me, but just know it was something that, in my opinion, that's unforgivable. Like I said, maybe I'll mention it on my channel one day, but just at this moment in time, my first video, I'm not really ready to mention that. Like, I'm not really ready to mention his name. So yeah, so we would clash, and then I kind of pushed him away. Like, I just will always tell him, just go back to Ohio. What made you want to be with me again after all this hurt that you caused in my life? Why did you come back to me? So yeah, so eventually my baby father did something to get incarcerated in New York, and I think that's where I'm going to stop at. I think that's a good stopping point for this video. I want to save some stuff for the next video, and plus the story is a lot. It's a lot. Hold on, guys. So I think I'm gonna stop there, guys. Not because it's just after him getting incarcerated, that's when stuff really kind of like, I moved to New York to start a new positive life for me. That's when, like, really the moment that he came to New York is when everything started going downhill. But the moment that he got incarcerated and down here in New York, that's when it went really downhill. So that's part 2 of my story, and I'm more than willing to share that with you all. But right now I'm going to stop here because I want to see you guys' opinion if you do want to hear the rest of the story, because things do get better for me. I'm gonna let you guys know that now. So things do get a lot better for me. That's why I always say never turn your back on God, or never think that you're not good enough, or never think that things are not going to get better in your life, because I can assure you that they are. You just have to, number 1, be determined. Number 2, be motivated. Number 3, just have that mindset that you're not going to be a victim in this world. You're going to continue to grind and continue to provide. And I feel like most of that strength came with me becoming a mother. I knew, like, I've always been a strong woman, but becoming a mother made me stronger. Now I'm just like, okay, I have a baby that's gonna need me to be strong, and I have a baby that's going to need me to continue to move forward for them. I can't just let excuse me, I can't just let this situation break me, you know? So I'm going to stop there, guys. Thank you all for tuning into this video. Thank you all for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. You guys can leave me comments whether you want to hear the next video, hear the next part of the story or not in my next video. Share this video with a friend. My whole point of my channel so far is to be like somebody that people can look up to, guys. That's my whole goal in this, to become like a motivational speaker for the world. Like, I know everybody goes through trials and tribulations in life, and I just want you guys to know that you can get through these things. I'm 24 years old and never had anything, never had anybody to depend on but my mother. Never knew anybody but my mother. Never had anybody to help pick up the pieces when I fell but my mother. And it's just like, when all that is taken away from you, a lot of people crumble and fold and just don't know what to do in the situation where they don't have anybody to have their back. But I can assure you that having your own back is the best thing that you can ever do. That's the best decision that you can ever make. You were put on this earth to be somebody. You were put on this earth to grind. You were put on this earth to have longevity and to have success and to be a good person. But you have to want it. Like, if you can dream it, you can live it. That's my motto. If you can dream about these things, or you have a vision of your life, you need to go for it, in my opinion, because some people want it, but they don't get up and try to go get it. You have to work for it. So that's basically the gist of my channel. I'll be doing other stuff as well, but I'll just be on here giving you guys positive words of wisdom, motivational speeches, and just to help you guys know that life is not over, whether you're a single mother, whether you have a disease, whether everybody in your family you always love turned their back on you. That's things that are supposed to make you strong. I know it's easier said than done, but don't look at your life like, oh, woe is me. Oh, why me? Why not you? You're blessed, and that's probably because you're a strong person, and that's going to bring it out in you. But thank you guys for tuning into my channel. I hope you guys return. I hope you guys share this video with a friend, a sibling, mother, aunt, uncle, and I hope you guys want to hear the rest of my story. Well, whether you want to hear it or not. Oh, sorry guys. Whether you want to hear it or not, I'm still going to share it because, like I said, this is my channel. This is my testimony, and this is what I feel like God has brought me to do. So hopefully you guys like it. Hopefully you guys like me. Once again, my name is Jadea. I'm 24 years old, and I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. Thank you. Bye, guys.